remember Dublin City in the red.
For 15 years, the Irish economic story has been one of rampant growth. The country was transformed, its people prospered. This dynamism had a name, the Celtic Tiger, envy of other small European nations. But today the Irish are absorbing a severe budget that will see tax increases for everyone and higher medical bills for the elderly. I heard about it in the back of this man's cab.
Well, I'll put it this way, if there was an election tomorrow, you'd have a new government. You wouldn't have Fianna Fáil in anyway. Something happened in Ireland 25, 30 years ago where people come in the world to work, which was unheard of, and now you can see that they're starting to go back to Poland, Eastern Europeans.
The great building boom of the last decade not only updated Dublin's skyline, it helped power growth of 7% a year. The subsequent bust, exaggerated by the credit crunch, has reversed its fortunes.
It's largely because of mistakes made by successive Irish governments. They allowed the building boom to get totally out of hand so that it was over an eighth of the economy, and it really was not sustainable. So what we're seeing is a housing bust, which is different from the housing bust in the United Kingdom. House prices are falling here, but the difference is in the United Kingdom you didn't build many more houses.
The timing is awful. In a recession, the government is having to put up taxes. In a gesture unimaginable in the UK, ministers are offering to take a pay cut to show solidarity and presumably to sweeten the pill. Perhaps the charm offensive should be extended to Europe. At the start of the banking crisis, Ireland upset the neighbours when it promised to guarantee savers' deposits at its banks. It acted alone, taking its partners in the Eurozone by surprise. It's not the first time Ireland's defied the club. In June, it rejected the Lisbon Treaty, a vote that spoiled hopes of a European constitution. Ireland felt it didn't need Europe, but the scary events of the last few weeks might change that.
I think if you had a vote on the Lisbon Treaty again next month, the likelihood is that it would be passed fairly substantially for two reasons. I think one is people would engage, which they didn't do the last time. You know, suddenly we're all very aware of world politics, world economics, the global economic system, all those sort of things are not abstract questions for people anymore. But secondly, when they did engage, I think they would start to realise that we're much more vulnerable than we thought we were.
The vulnerability was underlined last month when Ireland became the first country in Europe to sink into recession. Some argue it's only a temporary setback.
The economy is likely in the next decade to grow still a bit more rapidly than the rest of Europe. It's like a clockwork mouse, which is fully wound up. The winding has been running down over time. It still has a bit more go in it. And by 2020, we should be boring in European, growing at about 2.5% a year.
A mouse? But you're supposed to be the Celtic tiger, aren't you?
I don't like that metaphor. I prefer the metaphor of a clockwork mouse.
Ireland's mouse is still winding down. And this time it won't be alone. Prospects for many of its European neighbours don't look too bright either.
Liz McKean there in Dublin.